Cool. All right, we are live. So I'm conducting this week a little bit last minute. Sorry about that. Who wants to give a prayer?
I can do it.
Awesome.
Dear God, Heavenly Father, grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together today and discuss this case. Please bless us to do so with Thy Spirit, and that we may be able to learn the things that Thou wouldst have us learn in this lesson. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Cool. Thanks, Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this case was actually pretty short, which was really nice. This is one of the shorter ones that we've had. And I liked it because it was also one of the more, it was one of the most relatable ones that we've had. Like we can all identify with like that group of people that doesn't work particularly well together. But yeah, so I just pulled up the agenda and I'm looking at some of the discussion questions. As kind of a very brief review, because the case itself was really rather brief. The woman, Barbara Norris, had just recently become the nurse manager for the large general surgery unit, GSU, at a university hospital. She's been working for a really long time and eventually reaches a point where she's just super stressed because in this workplace, there's a really big issue with being short-staffed, really high stress levels, low employee morale. A lot of the younger people feel like the older people aren't willing to guide them and direct them or provide proper training for them. A lot of the older people feel like the young people don't really get what's going on, haven't put in a lot of the time and dedication to learn it, and they don't really want to be running around trying to fix those kinds of problems. Additionally, things that people cite as problems in that workplace are things like the culture not valuing collaboration and teamwork, not being able to count on other people, not having their work acknowledged, not really having opportunities to learn and grow, etc. So that's kind of where we're at with the case. So a couple of the questions that they want us to go over are like the root problems that Barbara Norris, so the manager, is facing. And I kind of brought up a couple of those, but if anybody else has stuff that I might have glossed over or missed, feel free.
I think a huge root problem is kind of the unwilling to learn and unwilling to help out. So those two factors right there. I mean, that's a huge thing. It's a pride issue that they're dealing with. For me, that's what I got out of it, is like most of the people from her work, kind of she talked about outside of work, and group is just not willing to put themselves aside and then help out.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I see Cindy's trying to join up. Is that working out for you? Okay. Yeah, that's really true. I like a lot of what you said, Caitlin. I feel like it's really easy to say, oh, it's just the older people's problem, or it's just the younger people's problem. But it's totally true. There's probably failures on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a lack of trust and respect on both sides.
Yeah. So how well has Barbara Norris, our manager, how well has she done in her first month? Oh, hey, Janelle.
Hey.
We were just talking about, we just went over the root problems that Barbara Norris had been facing.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And now we're talking about how well Barbara has done in her first month as a nurse manager. So how do we think that Barbara is doing?
Is that directed at me or everyone?
Everyone.
It's everyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, since I started talking again, I would say that she's done a really good job as far as doing her managing position, just because she's trying to assess this what's happening, trying to get. She also really stays just because they're short on hours. So I think she's done a pretty good job. Of course, it's her first month. It's a little overwhelming to step in a position. They questioned us as well from our group of our case study if she was underqualified or just wasn't ready for the job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she was. I definitely think there was moments where, because she's not used to being in that area, it's just a learning curve, not a requirement to be in there. And of a learning curve, no matter who's.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The parts that I was able to hear, yeah. I think it's true. Like, you can't just give somebody a rusted out old car and say, okay, well, in a month, I want you to give me a Porsche. Like, it doesn't. She's working with what she has. I agree. Like, there are just going to be like hard things in the first month, especially with this type of environment that she's been put into as the manager now. So I think I agree that she's done a really, really good job. She's a good choice for the position.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I bet she probably feels like she's barely keeping her head above water, though. Like, from where she was at to where she is now, it looks like it's a big change and it's difficult, and it looks like some of the employees are hard to work with. And so going from working with a great manager to getting the schooling to then being like, I can do this, and just being like beat down really quick, it's probably super hard for her. And she probably feels like she isn't doing as well as she is, because I think she's trying, and she's obviously putting in efforts to try to make it better by meeting with everyone and trying to get feedback, but it's still a hard situation to be in, especially for your first management position.
Sure, absolutely. Definitely. Cool. So from what we were able to see in the case, what are some of the changes that Barbara's trying to make? We talked about the problems, and we talked about how she's doing a good job. So what's she trying to do, really? What's she trying to change about the place, and why?
I'd say one of the biggest changes that I've seen that she's implementing now is she's trying to at least communicate with her employees and get feedback from them, because they felt like they weren't being heard. Yeah, but they're not getting their input, and it doesn't matter. And so I feel like her just meeting with them and getting some input made a big difference. And I think she does want to make more changes. She wants to have more employees so they're not able to get back up. She also wants them to be able to focus on the patients and not to have to do as much administration work. So I feel like there's a lot of things she wants to do, but she hasn't been able to implement them yet. So I think the one big thing, though, that she has been able to do is get more communication between her and the employees.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering how that was going to go when I started reading and I saw that she was going to have a little sit down with them, kind of get everything on the table, because those meetings can often go really, really well, or they can just kind of devolve into a terrible situation. So yeah. I was kind of glad to see that it ended up working out. Like, some things were said, there might have been some discomfort, but at the end of the day, I think that they were better for having that meeting.
Yeah, and I think it was good that she said to have them all write things on note cards and hand them in like anonymously, because I think if she'd just been like, so what's your opinions? There would be a few things said, but not the full problem, I don't think, would have been assessed. And so then afterwards, being able to hear some people's comments, she got to hear two different people and their viewpoints on what they strongly felt. But I feel like without doing that anonymous note card part, she wouldn't have gotten everything that she needed.
Sure. Definitely.
I definitely like at the end that she was saying, like, whatever changes we're going to make, I'm going to ask you guys your opinion and present like what the few solutions are, and then brainstorm on the best solution. I thought that was really nice, especially said or appreciate input on the changes that are made within their unit, which I thought that was really, really smart of her to do that, is to create more unity within the employees.
Mm-hmm. So, additionally, our agenda asks us to come up with 3 obstacles, or address 3 obstacles to effecting change that Norris should anticipate, and how should she address them? I think one of those things, one of the obstacles that she's probably going to run into, in terms of like change, being able to affect change, is, I mean, we talk about it in church all the time too, but pride on one end or the other, from like the newbies or from the old seasoned people. Maybe some pride, like, oh, this is the way we need to do it. This is the way it should be. And I think this because I've been that way for a while, or because it was my idea, or because, you know, this, that, or the other thing. I think pride is going to be part of that problem, or one of the problems, one of the obstacles.
I think another one is a time constraint that people might feel like there's going to be, for them to change for us, there's going to be, you know, time. People aren't going to be willing. So time and willing to change those. I said those were 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of hard to turn around the entire culture of a place in just a short amount of time like that, because some of these people have been working there for years. So I agree, Caitlin.
I think it's also going to be difficult with, I think you're going to have to ask them to put in more effort than they already are because they're understaffed. And so I think it'll be difficult to ask more of them to work together, more of them to rely on each other and build as a team. And there might be maybe one-on-one meetings, or maybe they have to read a flyer each week that explains like this person had this success or something. Like, I think there's going to be additional things that they have to do that there might be hesitation, but it's also going to ask them to do step up and do more, which can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wrote in mine that needs to be changed. So one of them I said, and we could see on people unwilling, when they did, they weren't helping out rightly. The ecology, the thing to be doing is what one girl does. Like, she goes to seminar hours, like, not like, maybe not to that extreme, but at least part of like a weekly meeting or something, to be like, hey, these are the new seminars and updates that are coming up. Please be, you know, understanding them. If you're not, seek advice. And additional to that, I kind of mentioned, I tied in the book from 7 Habits of something I think that would help out is, I think it's in chapter 4 or chapter 5, where it says, first seek to understand and then to be understood, kind of a sort of mindset is there spot in my mind to add that. Great.
Yeah. Cool. So, I'm gonna be really honest. I can't hear hardly anything that Caitlin says.
You keep cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is really bad.
No, that's okay. I just don't want to I don't want to sound dumb and be like, oh, I totally agree with you, and then go off on like a tangent that you totally didn't.
Was there a chat?
Oh, there might be. I don't I don't know.
Look.
We think that you say good things. We just don't know what you're saying.
Like it's hard to respond constructively in a good way when.
But the bits we hear sound very intelligent.
Indeed. Absolutely. So, Janelle mentioned a little something about this next question, but one of the things they want us to do is advise or devise an action plan for Norris. So, like specific things that she can do from here on out to try to change the morale. And one of the things that Janelle said that I really liked was, like, obviously, of course, there are going to need to be one-on-one meetings and stuff. There's going to be like some micromanagement of this situation that needs to take place. But also, I liked when you mentioned the like a newsletter kind of thing, or some type of like mini post-it. I don't know, about how to about the strengths and stuff.
Yeah, because a lot of the people were saying how they wanted like acknowledgement when they do things well or praise, and I was like, well, they should have like a whiteboard or a flyer or an email or something that's like, hey, this is the new person and they did such a good job in training this week, and this person accomplished this new certification, and just like a little like good news board. Like, I don't know. I always like that in my jobs, which are usually sales. So it's like, this person hit this many sales, and you're like, wow, that's great. So I don't know. I feel like something like that would be super positive and good. But like you said, I think one-on-ones are great. And then I like what Caitlin was saying in your little messages, which I got bits of when you were talking about seek to understand before being seek to understand, then understood. And I think that that's super important. They're not, oh, the chat finally popped up. I think it makes a lot more sense that way, and that they really should try and, I don't know, be less prideful.
Gotcha. Awesome. Now, Caitlin, you're looking at 3:40, right? As when you need to kind of finish this up.
Yep, if you can hear that.
I heard that, yeah. Cool. Yeah, we're kind of right on the tail end of it anyway. So we've got seek to understand, then to be understood. We've got, the possibility of recognition on a little note on a whiteboard or on anything else. Ben, what do you think?
I think anything that she can do or say that will inspire trust and respect would be a good thing. I really like how she started out asking them, what do you guys think? And like putting their ideas and thoughts on the table and considering that. And I think any action she takes that shows that she has thought about what they've said and applied it in some way, I think that will help them see that their opinion is valuable. And so they'll start to kind of feel more trust toward her. So the more she can inspire trust and respect from them to her and her to them, then they will have that between them. You know what I mean? I don't know if I said that in a way that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, it made sense.
And then Caitlin over here on the side sent another thing saying team recognition from another staff member as well as from Barbara to recognize employees publicly. So like encouraging a culture of recognition for one another, not just kind of like, it's the manager's job to recognize good behavior or good performance.
There's one more thing she mentioned at the end. After she did like the list of things that her staff needed, she put, could she talk to her director of nurses and seek to stop the hiring freeze and get more staff for GSU, which made me wonder, is she not communicating with the director over nurses? Like, I feel like that would be her higher up. So I feel that she should be talking to her about problems, maybe getting advice from her in the first place. But I don't know. I feel like that I would be talking to my superiors for ideas as well.
Sure. And I would absolutely be saying we need more people. Like, if you want a fully functioning, like, if you want the place to run as though it were fully staffed, then you need to fully staff it. Like, you don't really get to work around that.
Yeah.
And I get that money is a thing, but it's kind of the way it works.
Yep.
So yeah. So we've got a couple of good plans. Does anybody have anything else that they wanted to mention or say about the case or how it applied to them or any other ideas that they would have for Norris? Okay, so just to kind of finish up, how can we apply what we've learned in this case to our own lives?
Well, I learned that this short case was easy to the point, and I understood what was going on pretty quickly. So I think keeping things brief and getting to the point is very nice. I really appreciated this case for that reason.
Yeah, I'm cool with a 5-page case rather than a 20-some-odd page one.
Right?
I think.
But I guess if I had to say what I actually learned from the case is that I feel like communication is key in a work environment. And also, you want to always know what you're getting into ahead of time. But to establish, like Benjamin was saying, a trust relationship where your employees can trust you and you can trust them is super important in the workplace as well.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. I think just to add in one other thing, I think the whole gratitude exercise or activity that we did a couple weeks ago, they kind of go together, or not go together, but like what we learned in that case could help in this case. Because I feel a lot of these people just felt like, obviously they're there to do it for a check and everything, but if they felt like they were appreciated, or that they say themselves, if they felt like they were recognized for their efforts and contributions, like things would be a lot better in that place. Like, absolutely. So that's good too. All right. Anything else, Ben?
Nope.
Awesome. Cool. Well, then it is 3:40 and we can finish it on up. Thanks a lot, y'all.
All right. Thanks.
Coolio. Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.
Have a good week. Bye.
You too.